following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Flags. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick and Michael Sendrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It's a beautiful Tuesday in Nashville as we get ready for the holiday on Thursday. The holiday will be mixed with a lot of family and food. And the third F is football. Coach Watson Brown joins us from up on the plateau. So, Watson, do you have to sneak around in your watching of football, or are you able to just point blank say, look, I'm watching this game?
You've been in this house. There's TV in every room, so I can get to one of them for sure. But what is the Greek food, George, for Thanksgiving? What do you eat?
I don't think there's anything really that has changed. All our Thanksgivings were absolutely the,
turkey dressing.
Yeah, all the stuff. Now, I will say this. There was one year where my mom had enough and was like, I'm not cooking for y'all. And she turns to me like somehow I'm going to cook. And she goes, figure it out. So
what'd you do? Go buy what?
I went to some friends of mine who owned Country Cabin Barbecue, and to say the least, we did not have a Thanksgiving meal as such, but we had great barbecue, green beans, and corn. And she didn't care. She couldn't have cared less.
That's not a bad alternative.
No, and nobody dared say anything, because when my mom reached that point, you knew she meant it.
Yeah, that's true. Stay away.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving food, Watson?
My favorite dish, not counting turkey, the turkey dressing, is the sweet potato casserole with the marshmallow on top. That's my favorite.
If somebody makes a green bean casserole, excuse me, I got a little cold. I'll devour it. Absolutely devour it.
Green bean casserole, man, huh?
Green bean casserole. And if you've got a little pecan pie at the end.
Ooh, there's always a place for a piece of pecan pie.
Absolutely. Billy, what about you?
I would say classic, just turkey, mac and cheese, green beans, keep it classic. But you do have to have a good dessert. You have to top it off. I would take pecan pie, but my grandma makes a great just chocolate fudge pie. It's too good. It's a little dangerous. You can only eat one piece too because they're massive. But I would say my favorite's the dessert.
Well,
dessert
a bit over.
George and Billy. Brenda makes a buttermilk pie.
Oh, that sounds good.
It is delicious, and I'd say it's probably 2 pounds a slice.
Yeah.
It's about what I would say it puts on you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The chess pie is dangerous too. You never go wrong there.
It's close to a chess pie. It's called buttermilk pie, but it's very close to a chess pie. Even richer, I would say.
We need to get some of that buttermilk pie. We got to
have to bring you a piece. If there's a piece left, I'll bring you a piece Monday. That's what
I'll be waiting on it.
Do that. Let's check in with Terry McCormick, find out what goes on up in Westmoreland, Tennessee for Thanksgiving. Terry obviously will give us the daily Titans update in just a second. So what is the big dish at your house?
Well, beyond turkey, one of my favorites is hash brown casserole.
Oh yeah.
Good
Yeah,
stuff.
can't go wrong.
And then
Can't go wrong with that.
you're absolutely right. And then my mom makes these stuffed mushrooms. Now we have them more at Christmas than Thanksgiving usually, but she makes these stuffed mushrooms and they are awesome.
Mm,
Wow.
So those
I'm
are the
getting
two.
hungry.
Yeah, let's bring it on. So apparently there's a verdict, at least from Mike Vrabel, on Todd Downing, and I don't think it surprises anybody.
No, I mean, he's going to let Todd Downing continue in his role as offensive coordinator so long as the league allows it. So it's a situation where they're waiting to see if the league is going to put the hammer down. And until then, they're going to go on with business as usual.
Terry, I know this is a really delicate issue, but players are sitting back there going, if this happened to me, is this the way mine would be handled? That's one of the things you have to worry about in this.
I think it is. I think it's one of the things that you kind of have to look and kind of weigh and see and just kind of, you know, take into consideration, the players. You're right. A lot of times the discipline handed down to the players seems to come a lot more swiftly than it does when there's coaches or other personnel involved.
Yeah, which I think is one of the reasons why the NFL's Players Association is so strong and so well. I don't know about strong, but you hear from them a lot.
Yes, I mean, they're obviously, and they have a point. When those types of things go down, uh, I guess the biggest thing that I find inconsistent on the NFL level in terms of handing out discipline is in certain circumstances, they wait for the matter to play itself out, the legal process to go through the courts or a settlement or whatever may come to pass. And then other times, like especially if like a video, and I'll go back to, and I know this is completely different and kind of egregious, but the Ray Rice video. Ray Rice never played another down of football. And, that was because the video got out of what he did and it didn't have to go through the legal system. So, to me, there's a level of, I guess, inconsistency in terms of when they let it go through the full system and when they don't.
Consistently inconsistent.
Yes.
Okay, tell me what else has come out today.
Well, a couple of good things. Bud Dupree was able to practice. So was Amani Hooker. That's two guys that they could be getting back for this game Sunday against the Bengals. And then the other thing that was kind of a theme that was passed around over at St. Thomas Sports Park, shall we say, from Vrabel, from the players who were asked about it, that this is, quote, not a revenge game because about half the Titans' current roster was not involved in that playoff game last year where they lost to the Bengals and were upset, knocked out of the postseason. But I'm not sure how many people are actually buying that. I mean, on a professional level, yes, I buy it because you've got to focus on the task at hand, which is slowing down Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense and finding a way to win the football game. But that just as people and just as competitors, there is the want and the need to, as much as you can, say right or wrong here, to use for lack of a better term.
Well, let's put it a different way. If you believe that, I got some land in Florida that I'm willing to sell you. That's a bunch of happy talk. This is absolutely a revenge deal on several fronts. Number one, it stopped a team that was a 1 seed from achieving its dreams. And secondly, Ryan Tannehill has been put through the ringer because of his performance in that game.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, 3 interceptions in that ball game, and they wind up losing on a game-ending field goal. So above all else, Ryan Tannehill wants to atone for that performance, even though the stakes here are not nearly as high as they were in that playoff game. So, yeah, I'm with you. I don't think anybody is really buying that talk, even though that's the message they're trying to sell.
Yeah, good luck on that. Terry, we'll do it again tomorrow. Appreciate it as
All right,
always.
sounds good. Sounds
Okay,
good.
that's Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update.
And it has been brought to us by the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners. They are proven to be trusted with your most personal asset. The Justin Tucker team, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty. Give them a call at 615-906-8458. And also Sumner Funeral and Cremation. They are sharing their family with yours in your time of need. They've got 2 convenient locations in Gallatin and Hendersonville, and you can also find them online at sumnerfuneral.com. Okay, George, let's get to the update. You got the sniffles out?
Ongoing.
We'll see about that. Number one, the NCAA has given Las Vegas a Final Four in 2028. It's a first for the city. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority announced yesterday the 65,000-seat Allegiant Stadium, home of the Raiders, and UNLV will host the event. So not surprised by this, but George, maybe this points to Nashville. You get a dome, this is what you're going to get.
Well, it is a little phony, Watson. All these years of the NCAA putting out the message against gambling, and now all of a sudden they're going to Vegas. There is more hypocrisy going on about this kind of stuff than you can shake a stick at.
Oh, don't get me started. I mean, it's just I've been dealing with this for 40 years in the business, and I mean, we say one thing and look one thing, and then it seems like something else happens behind closed doors. This don't surprise me. I mean, and to let gambling go to the spot to where it is now, the next thing we're going to see, and maybe it already is. Next thing I think we're going to see is we're going to see these athletes doing gambling commercials. That's coming. You watch. That's coming because that's where a lot of big bucks are for these NIL stuff, and that'll be next. And the NC2A will not stop it.
Not anymore.
Nope.
No longer. A really interesting story out of the NFL is up next. The NFLPA has filed a grievance claiming the NFL and its teams have colluded against its players' pursuit of fully guaranteed deals. A third-party arbitrator is expected to hear the grievance, which the union filed in recent weeks. So, interesting.
If they have truly colluded, get ready.
Buckle up.
Buttercup.
This could get hairy.
Because in 1987, the Major League Baseball Players Union nailed Peter Ueberroth and the owners in baseball. It was so obvious what they were doing. And they paid dearly for being pretty reckless about it.
You think a same sort of thing could be going on here?
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Would I be shocked? Good Lord, no.
Man, we'll keep track of that here these next few weeks. Texas State Securities Board is investigating Stephen Curry and Tom Brady. Famed NFL quarterback Brady and Curry are among a group of celebrities under investigation by a Texas regulator for possible violations of securities laws related to their promotion of the collapsed cryptocurrency exchange FTX. So,
don't ask me what it means. I haven't got a clue.
It probably won't end up being a big deal.
I'm kind of glad I don't know what it's all about. I don't want to be anywhere close to this stuff.
Exactly.
We shouldn't even try to talk about that.
Oh.
And what's the last one?
Last one. This is my favorite topic of the day. Lane Kiffin has shot down an Ole Miss rumor, and it was from a pretty reliable reporter last night, and he quote tweeted it. He said, "That's news to me. Nice sources." So not surprised by those actions from Lane Kiffin, but it's getting a little weird at this point.
Oh, it's getting very weird. This is the season for rumors. And the truth of it is, any of us in this business could make up stuff.
And you knew he was going to be coming out with all kinds of different jokes.
Listen, it'd be so. We at Main Street have learned that Lane Kiffin's going to Ole Miss. Well, whoop-de-doo. I mean, half the world's got this rumor down. But if you're going to go with that, you better be right.
Yep.
That's the journalism lesson in this that has gone by the wayside. Watson, as you know, It's a lot more about being first now than it is being right.
No, and that's the difference, George. One of the main differences to me in media that I think is not good. And to be first, but don't say this is over just yet. I'm telling you, I don't think the Lane Kiffin thing. I'm not saying he's going, but I don't think it's over yet. Do y'all remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember Tommy Tuberville having a team meeting in Oxford, told his team he's staying, walked out the door, told the media the next morning he's in Auburn, Alabama, the new coach. The next morning. So I wouldn't put anything past any of these guys. With all these agents involved now to where the coach don't have to be the person.
Oh, yeah. It's all very
George, it's so different than it was back before.
Yeah.
This is not even close to being
It's all
over.
happening under this.
No, it's
table.
not over yet. I'm telling you, I'm not saying Lane Kiffin's not involved in this. I'm not saying it.
But I don't think they've talked yet.
No, but it don't mean they won't.
No, it doesn't mean, and it doesn't mean that the intermediaries haven't
don't
talked.
think those agents hadn't talked.
Oh, sure. They absolutely have talked.
But the AD and Lane, if they're going to talk, it wouldn't even be till Friday anyway.
Yeah.
They play Thursday night, so it wouldn't be till Friday before they talked anyway. So
it's almost like we're forgetting Ole Miss has another game to play and a season left to play.
They've got a big game left to play.
They'll remember.
Yeah, they sure will.
Believe me, this is a big game in that state. This I was in this one, and this one is right there with Alabama Auburn now. This is a 365-day deal. So this is the game of the year. I don't care what their records are.
After the break, Tony Basilio will join us. There's a lot to talk about in Big Orange Country. Some of it good, most of it right now, not so good. Stick around. This is Main Street Media Television.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you.
When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
we get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
This is Eric Berner with Rock Castle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, and personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. If you've lost a spouse or a parent and want to make sure your inheritance is utilized and does not just disappear, I can help with that. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show. It is now time for Tennessee Tuesday with Tony Basilio, and he is brought to us by Complete Service Heat and Air and Direct Radon Mitigation. First, for Complete Service Heat and Air, they do service and repair on heating and air the right way. They've got 24/7 service call. Call them at 615-797-3997. They serve Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Also, direct radon mitigation. Have you heard of the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer. The only way to know is to test for it. Visit directradonmitigation.com to schedule a free estimate. And first, before we get to Tony, a few words on Complete Service Heat and Air.
Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have warm air throughout those cold winter months. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties.
Okay, let's say hello to Knoxville Sports Talk Show host Tony Basilio. There he is. Got the little
winter cap on.
Yeah, what are we calling that?
Well, I was just outside, so it's a little cold, and hope you guys are well today.
We are, and hope you and your family have a great Thanksgiving. You are certainly one of the things this show has been thankful for in our inception. And I want you to know that.
That's very sweet of you, George. Thank you.
So now let's throw the hand grenade. What's the real story on Jeremy Banks?
Well, the real story is that there were multiple incidents with him last week that precipitated them to leave him behind. They just decided to leave him behind. An incident with a teammate, an incident with a teammate, an incident with a member of the staff. And that forced them into a decision to leave a guy behind who's a real spiritual leader for them on a football field. And, you know, what's interesting about yesterday at the press conference, he was asked about it by Adam Sparks,
right?
Who I know you know from his Nashville days. And Adam just matter-of-factly said, was there an incident with Jeremy Banks? Is that why he was left behind? Was there a situation with him, with a teammate? And will he play Saturday night? And to that, Josh Heupel said he will play in the Vanderbilt game. We expect him to play. And that's all he said. He said the other stuff I'm just not going to address, which I've been around here long enough. You've been around this long enough. Watson Brown's been in it long enough to know that when a head coach says that, that means something went on, and we're just not going to talk about it because why at this point? It's just a very sad thing because, you know, guys, it's not why Tennessee lost Saturday night, and they were going to lose. They were going to lose with him or without him, but it just clouds all this, and it's just a sad thing for this to happen to Tennessee's season.
Was the team looked flat? Was that a reaction that was saying to Josh Heupel, we don't agree with your decision?
I don't know. It's a great question. I wouldn't. I'm not qualified to answer that. Look, some have said that when you go out there and you play a little distracted, or, you know, if you're 10% not in a game because of something like that. Because look, the thing about Banks is a leader of their defense. He just is. Now, he's a guy who's, how do I put this? He's kind of a high risk type player, very moody guy, extremely emotional guy. Football coaches down through the years have told me that you got to figure out a way to make these types of guys, way to keep them on your football team. And they were able to do that through 10 games. It's just that in, you know, week 11, they decided to leave them at home, which, you know, with a playoff on the line, that's a tough decision. That's why those guys make big money. That's a tough decision right there.
Tony, I'm going to ask one more thing and then turn it over to Watson.
Yeah.
What I saw a year ago and before that at Michigan, I've always labeled Joe Milton a stiff. He's got the strongest arm in the history of mankind.
Yep.
Looks like he tries to grab the sawdust out of the ball. Everything's on a line. There's no touch.
Right.
Has something changed where Saturday night we're truly going to see a different Joe Milton, or is it more of the same?
He's a wild card, guys. I have no idea. I know that as he's played in these games, he's looked better. But he's got one, you know, he's the guy that can throw the ball 105 miles an hour in Major League Baseball, and you didn't know where the ball's going. He's the guy that on a pickoff attempt throws the ball through the first baseman's mitt, you know, and into the right field stands. He's a wild card. I'll tell you what he is. He's an absolute team leader. He stuck around here after he lost his job, after losing his job at Michigan. He is beloved by his teammates. He cooks for his teammates all the time. He's best friends with Hooker. It's a very unique thing. It's very weird. It's just a weird turn here in this season. There's just it's just weird. And who knows how Tennessee's going to respond Saturday night, because now all of a sudden they've got to really get up from something, because they had a real opportunity in their hands. They had 8 quarters of football separating themselves and a playoff berth. That's where it was going. And they know that. And Josh Heupel, to his credit, he said, look, we blew an opportunity. We let it go through our hands. And he acknowledged that. So it's just, it's very difficult.
No kidding. Watson?
Tony, there's probably another 25 teams that have blown the same opportunity this year. So, I mean, it's sports. It's football.
Yep.
And that's why we all love athletics, is because all of a sudden you can be steamrolling and then you get hit in the face.
Yep.
How are you going to respond? And first, a little bit about the game. I'll say this first before we get into the game. Excuse me. I think you're going to learn 2 things about Tennessee. I think they'll grow in this game big time. You're going to learn 2 things about Tennessee football Saturday. Coach Heupel has reacted absolutely the right way when things are good. Now we're going to see if he reacts the right way when things are bad. And can he get this team back up and get them ready to play a road game and a big game, a very important football game. Second, you're going to know if Milton's going to be your quarterback or not next year in these next 2 games, this game and the bowl game they go to. If he performs well, he'll be that guy. If he don't, they're going somewhere to get another one. I don't think it'll just be a freshman. I think they'll hit the transfer portal. So there's a lot at stake to me, Tony, in this football game coming up. And I'm really anxious to watch the Tennessee team react. It's going to be, looks like from what I'm seeing, an old rainy, cold night. And Florida didn't like that too much. When they came to town. They didn't show up. I just got a feeling Tennessee will. But I really am looking forward to that. Comment on that, and then I'll go back to the game a little bit.
I think you nailed it. And look, this thing was so easy this year. It came so easily. I'd come on here all during the year, guys, and told you that I thought somewhere along the way this could happen because the pass defense is that bad. And by the way, their pass defense is that bad. I told you guys countless times why other opponents weren't trying to throw the ball over them was beyond me. And I realize that Vanderbilt's going to be probably without their strong-arm freshman, this young man from Atlanta who's filled in for him, who's led them to 2 wins, is a great athlete. The way to beat Tennessee is to throw the ball over them. Can he do it? I don't know. I'll tell you this. Vanderbilt has a defense that is susceptible to the long play, to chunk plays. Joe Milton, and I know this is what they're going to do. Tennessee is going to attack them downfield. And so is he going to be accurate, make the right reads, make the right plays, and play well enough for them to have confidence in him going forward? I mean, Watson, there are so many, you talk about the way this sport can change from week to week. Last week, people here wanted to give Heupel one of those $100 million super contracts, you see. I've had people call my show this week and say, hey, if they lose at Vanderbilt Saturday night, I'm going to have questions about whether he's the right guy here. And it's just like, and you just kind of go, but that's the nature of the jobs that these people have. Tim Banks, another one. Tim Banks 3 weeks ago, were talking about, how is this guy doing less with more? It's incredible. Today they're talking about who's the next defensive coordinator going to be here. This thing is, it's like our weather in East Tennessee. Our saying around here, because the mountains we're surrounded by, if you don't like our weather, stick around for 15 minutes. I mean, that's exactly what happened here. And there's just no accounting for how dead to the world Tennessee was the other night, Watson. That's the thing that really concerns me. I saw a Tennessee team that was either pouting because of what happened with Banks, distracted a little bit because of what – I'm talking about their defense now – distracted a little bit because of what happened with Banks, or they ran into a quarterback who just had a career night, or it's a little bit of all the above, or they've hit a wall. And that's it for them, which any of that's possible in my mind. Any of it's possible.
And I think I can give you thoughts with that. I think the other night was a perfect storm. What happened with Banks and the pressure of the game. And when you're playing a pressure game like that, Tony, you're better off playing a 50-50 game than somebody you're supposed to beat by 25. It puts more pressure, and especially when you get down quick. And then all of a sudden it hits you right in the throat. And it's new for Tennessee. These are things they've got to grow through to get to where they're going. When you text me Saturday night, I said, got to go recruit. They don't have enough players on the defensive side of the ball to be a championship team just yet.
Right.
But it was a perfect storm in that I think the Banks thing was a distraction, and then the pressure of the game in a very loud atmosphere, and then get hit in the mouth quick. And I just don't think they came out of the funk. But give South Carolina credit. They attacked the spots that absolutely, for some reason, nobody has. Every play they ran, run or pass in the game, Tony, went at the secondary. It didn't go at the front. They did not run the ball off tackle hardly at all. They took it to the flanks. And Tennessee couldn't set an edge, and they couldn't tackle. But they got outside, and who has to make those plays? The secondary has to make those plays. And I thought that was a big deal. And then Tennessee, Tony, helped them. They played all press man most of the game. That's the simplest thing in the world for a quarterback that struggles with coverages. Rattler has struggled with coverage. You see it. He's jumpy. His eyes are looking up. The other night, he's taking the ball and throwing it to one guy. And so he didn't have any decisions to make in the game. And so then he gets hot, and it just keeps hitting them. But it was easy because the coverages never changed. They didn't jump to cover 2, or they always kept wanting to play press man. And so the pass, they threw the ball for 300 more yards than they've been throwing a game for. I mean, so Tennessee helped them, in my opinion. Then on the other side of the ball, Tennessee helped them because they lost their patience. They got down early, and then they started just trying to score quick and didn't keep throwing their little stuff outside and slants and pick at them, go down the field slow, run, go fast, but yet eat yards as you go. They kept trying to get easy scores to catch up. Major mistake in my part. And then South Carolina defensively did a very smart thing. Tennessee is the best offense in the country within the chains. They're not anywhere close to the best offense in the country when it's pass time. Just pure all-out pass time. Tennessee goes way down the ladder when it gets to that point.
Yep.
Tennessee likes to, and third down, when it's a passing down, Tony, they love to sit there and fake like they're snapping it, look to the sidelines, see the coverage, check the pattern they want to run to coverage. That's their deal. What South Carolina did, they faked like they're blitzing, but they didn't get out of it. They faked like they're blitzing because they knew they weren't going fast. So they sit there. Tennessee thinks it's a blitz, and on the snap of the ball, South Carolina ran back to a 2-deep zone. It messed them up big time, hurt them really bad on third down. So it's a perfect storm, in my opinion. The atmosphere, the attitude Tennessee had, and then give South Carolina coaches credit. They bothered Tennessee with their game plan, and the combination of all of it ended up being an embarrassing loss. And honestly, that's it. But Tony, they're not good enough on defense yet. They're not good enough that if they'd gotten further and made the Final Four, they were really going to get exposed. They've got to go recruit better defensive players as time goes on here. He's in his second year. He's going to do that, in my opinion.
You know, it's amazing. As you were talking, Tennessee now, and I haven't thought about this till now, but Tennessee joins Mississippi State as the only other team that's gotten that one ranking while they dropped these rankings.
Yeah.
They're the only other one. And that Mississippi State team that year, we all knew when they were one was not making a playoff. We all knew that. And this Tennessee team, you look back at that and you go, just thinking about Mississippi State now that you've had time, and you go, man, they got that team the number one in America, even for a week. That's a very good accomplishment. For this Tennessee team to rise to that level with that defense, if they finish the thing and go 10-2, that is a great A+ coaching job. Now, it's not going to feel like it here because we call this thing the calamity in Columbia that happened on Saturday night. And factored into that is this terrible injury to Hendon Hooker, where he doesn't even get to play his final couple of games here. Awful. The last thing Tennessee sees of this young guy has been nothing but class. Nothing but class. On and off the field is him limping through the end zone while Tennessee's playing out the string out there under Joe Milton in a blowout loss, while the Vols are giving up, guys, the most points since 1892 in a football game. Now, come on now. What happened Saturday night, and you said perfect storm. It was almost like 100-year storm, because Watson, I would say to you, George, anybody listening, how does South Carolina football score that many points on anybody? How? This year? How? It's not possible.
Well, they hit the weak spots, and the quarterback got hot because he had easy reads. I'm telling you, football is little things in football, Tony, make huge dividends. And South Carolina could go back this week at Clemson, and he'll start seeing a bunch of coverages. And I would bet you they go back and score 17 points or something like that. I'll bet you. But that's football, and that's why good coaches don't – the fans have every right to be what they are, but a good coach has got to stay even keel, and I'm anxious to see if Coach Heupel does that. And I'm really anxious. So this game Saturday night becomes a very big football game. Not just for Vanderbilt, but for Tennessee now, it's a very big football game. And I'm anxious to see how Coach Heupel and the players respond to what's gone down.
Well, and I agree with that. And, you know, and the thing this thing has also done is it's opened up this playoff deal. I mean, Dabo Swinney's out there talking trash now. He wants back in. And you got to love him. You got to love Dabo Swinney. Better be careful. He might get this Tennessee team in an Orange Bowl. And Watson, I know Tennessee's secondary's bad, but they're not bad enough to let that guy beat them. I can promise you that. I can promise you that, Watson.
I'll predict right now. I know it sounds prejudiced, but I don't think he gets past the ACC championship. I don't think he beats my brother. I think Carolina beats Clemson.
There's going to be a lot of people here. I mean, that guy can't help himself. That guy's got to run his mouth. He just can't. That freaking guy just can't help himself.
I love it.
His calling. He could have been a talk show host.
Hey, he could still retire and be a great one.
Tony, just remember, buddy, there's a bunch of people that have blown this deal. I mean, go back and look at the teams that were sitting on the catbird seat that are already gone.
Well,
Tennessee has joined that group, but there's been a bunch of them. Good old Alabama's sitting there, and they're still hanging around. But
I thought about you.
They also blew it. They also blew it now.
George,
but they blew it too.
Give him his keys back, George. Watson can drive now again.
You know what? Hey, yesterday I apologized to him on the air for laughing at him.
Right.
Because it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Oh, no.
Hey, I got to ask one thing here. And if the answer is no, don't worry about it. I need to go to a break. Would you stick around for about 8-10 more minutes?
Sure. Be glad to.
Beautiful. Let's do it. We'll go to the break. More of Tony Basilio on this Thanksgiving Tuesday. This is Main Street Media Television.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit WellSkinMD.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin. It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com. Since 1865, the First Baptist Church of Gallatin on Winchester Street has served its community by catering to the least, the last, and the lost, providing a church of welcome used by God to save the lost, transform the saved, and impact its community. As a proud multi-ethnic congregation, Pastor Derek Jackson personally welcomes you to join them in fellowship Sunday mornings at 8 in person or at 1045 in person or online at firstbaptistgallatin.org. First Baptist Gallatin on Winchester Street, serving with open arms as a true church of welcome.
Okay, we've asked Tony Basilio to stick around for one more shorter segment. Tony, is it pretty much lock, stock, and barrel Tennessee's going to end up in the Orange Bowl?
No. They can go anywhere from Cotton Bowl. I guess if Alabama were to make a playoff, they could get to the Sugar Bowl. They could go to the Citrus Bowl. That's probably... Citrus Bowl would probably be as far as they could fall. That's with a win Saturday. With a loss Saturday, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. But with a win Saturday, closing the season 10-2, you're probably looking at either the Orange Bowl, which I got to tell my listeners tomorrow that Clemson's going to get eliminated from consideration for that now. We had breaking news last segment. I didn't realize that. So, and listen, I'm always for breaking news. So,
remember, I'm a tad prejudiced on that one. Just remember that.
I might tweet that out here in a second. But yeah, George,
I'm sure Mac will appreciate that.
Yeah, Mac loved me saying that.
Yeah, Mac will love seeing that. Yeah.
So is there a preference in the Tennessee camp? I would assume orange or sugar.
Yeah, no question. Tennessee brought 1 million people to Louisiana for the LSU game this year. I think people here, look, Tennessee hasn't been to to that Sugar Bowl since 1990 or 91, after the 90 season. That's 32 years, boys and girls. That's a long time. And, back in the day, that was the prestigious game out of the league you wanted to get to. And a lot of the old schoolers like me who went to school in the 80s, that's, it would be so great to see your school back in a Sugar Bowl. Of course, the Sugar Bowl loves Alabama. TV loves Alabama. Here's another thing that's going to work against Tennessee. I'm talking to one of my television friends. And this is not fair, but it's the way life is. Hendon Hooker, it's one thing if you have a guy that's up on the stage in New York and he's under center for you, you can kind of sell that. And without him, they don't have the star quality. I mean, you could have had the Blitnikoff Award winner and a guy that was invited to New York, who I still think probably gets invited to New York. Hopefully he gets invited to New York. But, Tennessee loses a little bit of its star power for one of those New Year's 6 spots. Now, does that enter in? I don't know. Somebody tell me it could. Who knows? I think their preference, though, would be if you were to rank them, would be Sugar 1, Orange 2, and then Citrus 3 or something of that effect. And somewhere in there is the Cotton Bowl. The Cotton Bowl would probably be third and then the Citrus 4th.
What can you tell us about Hooker's situation as far as rehab, surgery, all that kind of stuff?
Well, he has an ACL situation, and I don't believe he's had a surgery yet. I do know that Tennessee's taking a approach with him where they're going to try to help him with his recovery and help him get ready for his NFL future. I mean, for something like that to happen to a guy like that at his age, with everything that he's been through, it's just, it's just heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking. And it's, it's it's just so hard to comprehend that here was a guy that was on his way to New York for sure. And I'm telling you, seeing him limp out of that end zone the other night, that's, in my 35 plus years here, that's one of the saddest, starkest pictures. And, Saturday was just, Watson has a really good point. I'll tell you, this Watson Brown guy is a sharp cookie, Georgia, you're sitting with. Because Saturday in college football, Ohio State's been through this a million times, and they about buckled. Michigan went through it, got to the spot last year, and they about buckled. TCU obviously has never been, and they needed a miracle to get out of their game last week. And there was one other one. Georgia looked
sort of
awful.
sleptwalk through there.
Georgia looked awful. Georgia, unless they're playing somebody that has their attention, they don't even care. And they're good enough to get away with it. Tennessee's the only one of the bunch that paid for it. That kind of got caught in the soup and just couldn't get out of it, which is just really, it's ironic, sad, strange. So Tennessee, as we like to say in these parts, all at one time.
Watson got 1 minute.
Okay. Tony, it ain't over yet either, buddy. There's some more that might pay for it. Southern Cal ain't got no easy road.
No, and they have no
TCU
defense.
ain't got no easy road either.
No.
Now they got to play Kansas State.
No,
I'm telling you, Michigan's fixing to jump into Columbus and get beat.
Yeah.
This thing, Clemson is going to lose one. Betcha, they're going to lose one. This
Breaking
thing
news.
ain't over yet. There's going to be some more bite the dust before these 2 weeks are up.
Wait till those people in Alabama figure out what you figured out, Watson. That they're getting back in this.
It's still
thing.
a long shot, but they're still in the. They're still.
Wait
in
till
the
they figure it out. Hey, Lane Kiffin getting hired down there ain't going to be the biggest story, is it?
I love it.
Good point.
That was a great way to end this.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Hey, happy Thanksgiving to you guys. I'm really thankful for both of you. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Love you, Tony. Thanks, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Both ways.
Thank you.
Don't go before you tell people. Saturday night around 11 o'clock Eastern.
Look at my eyes.
Yeah, I hear you. Tell them.
We were up till 4:30 the other night. At least I was. We didn't get off the air till 3:30 in the morning. So I did a good little over 4+ hours. And at my age, I got to find a better way to make a living. So if you guys can figure something out, please, get in touch with my people. Seriously, look here. It's not a pretty sight. I'm going to start using makeup here before too long, but tclub.team is our website. We have about 3,000 words up there today. We update our blog every day. Tomorrow night, we're doing a post-game show right out of here for the Tennessee basketball team. We're even doing, and George, you'll love this, we're even doing World Cup call-in shows after the U.S. plays. I know. I hear the audible gasp there, but we're footies around here too. So, in fact, just to show you, we're ready here. So, tclub.team is our website. And my best to your listeners, your viewers, and wherever folks are hearing us or seeing us. Thanksgiving is a wonderful time of the year. And anybody that's breathing this air and in this world, I believe, has something to be thankful for. So,
amen.
God bless you guys. Thanks. Yeah.
We got to run to the break, plaster stat of the day, and then author Dave Hyde, who has written the book Swagger about Jimmy Johnson, as in the former Dallas Cowboy football coach. You're in for a treat. This is Main Street Media Television.
A man was critically injured following a crash early Friday morning. Officers at the scene said the victim was driving a pickup truck when he lost control of the vehicle. The pickup veered left and went into a ditch. A front seat passenger was wearing a seatbelt and escaped the crash without injury. The driver was not wearing a seatbelt and was ejected from the truck. He died at the scene. Law enforcement writes tickets to save lives.
Christmas for Kids is back at the Ryman this November 21st. Christmas for Kids provides children with shopping sprees, coats, and unforgettable experiences every year. This annual fundraising concert helps bring that experience to more kids. This year is hosted by Phil Vassar and includes Chris Young. The frontman, which is Richie McDonald, formerly of Lone Star, Larry Stewart of Restless Heart, Tim Rushlow, formerly of Little Texas, Essex County, and a whole lot more. Christmas for Kids, November 21st. To purchase tickets, go right now to Ryman.com.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
This holiday season, the largest lantern event in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. After sunset, come see more than 1,000 Chinese lanterns. All new designs including mythical beasts, a fantastical North Pole village, even a dragon soaring over your head. Welcome back to Zoo Illumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
When I made the decision to host the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night, Strike and Spare is where I turned. And what a wise decision that turned out to be. They have 5 locations in our area with family attractions. They're perfect for birthdays, groups and corporate outings, and holiday parties. For more info, it's simple. Go to strikeandspare.com.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee. We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports cards, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards. We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show. Not that show. It is time for Stat of the Day, powered by John English Vintage Sports and Cards, as well as Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. You can find John English in Shelbyville, Tennessee. Memorabilia, trading cards. They specialize in antique and historical sports equipment, games, advertising, and many other sport-related items. Of course, they are in Shelbyville. They're open Tuesdays through Fridays from noon to 5 and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 o'clock. Visit them online at johnenglishgradedcards.com. Also, Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. Give Eric a call at 615-490-7052 or visit rockcastlewealth.com for more information. Okay, let's get to today's stat of the day. Let's see what Michael's got cooked up for us. Here it is. Which of the following teams listed below have a negative point differential so far this season?
Well, I know the Vikings do, and certainly that beat down that Dallas put on them makes that stat even more. I'm
not sure all 4 of them don't.
I'm trying to think. We would assume Jacksonville does, given their record. We know the Vikings do. My guess is the Giants have played so many close games, that Detroit kind of taking them behind the woodshed. Let's do, for the sake of time, we're going to say it's all 4.
Bucks, Jags, and Giants.
Yep.
So
the Vikings are a plus.
I felt good about those 3. I didn't know about the Vikings.
Well, the Vikings are negative.
I knew the Bucks and the Giants, even the games they'd won, had been real close games. So,
by the way, go ahead. I know you've got some 5 o'clock stuff.
Yes, it is the 5 o'clock hour. George, it is powered by Middle Tennessee Bone and Joint. They combine state-of-the-art orthopedic service with a family atmosphere. Whether it's a sports injury, sprained ankle, or a major joint replacement, they have the staff, training, and equipment needed to take care of any patient in any circumstance. Visit them on the web at mtbj.net for more information.
Late word out of Oxford that Lane Kiffin has told his team he has not taken the Auburn job. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Honk if you've heard that before.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If I'm a player in that room, I might look at him, especially if I'm a graduating senior, and say, look, cut the crap. Look us in the eye and say, you're not going there.
Ask Senator Tuberville.
Ask Nicholas Saban on his departure in Miami.
There's another one.
Watson, only because I'm trying to get to Dave Hyde, who will join us at 5:10.
Okay.
And we're going to show Joe Milton's stats in his career. Am I being unfair in believing that what I've seen out of him, he's a stiff?
No, I think you're very fair. But I think he can prove us wrong Saturday night, because this offense can even a stiff can. It's a quarterback friendly.
Lost you, Watson.
Huh?
We can't hear you anymore for some reason.
Hello.
Oh, we got you.
Okay, there he is. Start that one over again.
I think you absolutely can say that, but he can prove us all wrong Saturday night. And this is a quarterback friendly offense. If he can't flourish in this offense, then he's not going to flourish in one.
But what a lot of throws about him that every pitch is a fastball, that he doesn't know how to make the touch throw. And that offense requires it.
I've seen a fuse when he comes in late. That ain't taking over when the heat's on. When he comes in late in games, I've seen some better throws out of him on some of those fade routes. Those are the ones he couldn't throw before. He just missed them by 10 yards. But I've seen him make better throws. I'm anxious to watch him be the guy and see if he handles the heat, see if he makes the throws, see if he is as fast with decision-making as Hooker became. I don't know, but I'm anxious to see. I'm really anxious to watch this Tennessee team play. Vanderbilt's going to play them hard. I know. This is the easy week for Coach Lee. They're going to come out the gate and they're going to play lights out. They're going to play very hard. And so you got to beat them. Tennessee's going to have to beat them. Vanderbilt runs a lot of the same plays that South Carolina ran against Tennessee Saturday night. They a lot of the same style plays. And Tony said, well, I don't think Vanderbilt can beat them with a pass. If they keep just lining up and press man out there, George, and say, throw it to this guy, I'm not sure they can't make those throws. And I think they can run the ball on them if Tennessee don't set an edge a lot better than they did last Saturday night. So this will be a competitive football game. But if Tennessee is ready to play and Milton's what he should be to be their next quarterback, they win this game.
Watson, if you're
ready to play, or if Milton isn't the guy, they're going to get beat Saturday night.
Billy, we got about 45 seconds. Then we got to go to the break.
All right, Watson, if you're Coach Lee and his defensive staff, do you defend Milton differently than you would Hooker? Because Clark Lee has said it doesn't really change.
It doesn't. You got to defend that offense.
Right.
You got to defend the offense. He does. That doesn't change anything, in my opinion, other than it's an unproven player. It changes that, but not in the way you defend it.
So you may not send more heat on him in that. Okay.
No. You gotta pick and choose because you got to be careful with that speed outside.
Yep.
You don't want to get beat with 4 or 5 just big plays and take you out of a game. So Vanderbilt's got to be very smart, in my opinion, in the way they play defense Saturday night.
Get ready. You're going to love this interview with Dave Hyde. He is, number one, a terrific sports columnist down in the South Florida area. He has written a book with Jimmy Johnson, the former Dallas Cowboy, former Miami Dolphin coach. And this is going to be an instant hit. It has just come out where you can purchase it within the last 10 days. He will join us next. You're going to want to stick around and hear this on Main Street Media Television.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
This is Eric Berner with Rock Castle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, and personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. If you've lost a spouse or a parent and want to make sure your inheritance is utilized and does not just disappear, I can help with that. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
Okay, late word out of one of these tournaments, I'm guessing. UAB has defeated Georgia 87-73. Georgia rebuilding under Michael White, the former Florida head basketball coach. In a moment, you're in for a real treat. Dave Hyde has been for more than 30 years a great sports columnist at the South Florida Sun-Sentinel, and has teamed up with Jimmy Johnson on a book that has gotten released entitled Swagger. This is one that's really interesting for sure to me. It was released nationally on November the 15th. And as soon as Dave is ready, and it looks like he's close, we will get him in here. This is called Four Corner Stall, Watson. The tarp is on the field. Time only has been called.
Well, he's there, but I'm not seeing a face, so that's a little concerning.
That is a little bit of a concern. We'll see if we can make this happen.
I think he's trying to work on his camera right now.
Yeah. So we'll stall around. Watson, did you ever deal with Jimmy Johnson?
Oh Lord, yes. Went against him many times at different places, and at Rice went against him, at Vanderbilt, I think, at Cincinnati. We played them the week right after we beat Penn State, and lost on the last drive of a game when he was at Oklahoma State. So I've gone against Jimmy a lot. Yeah.
Did you see when it got out that he was going to replace Tom Landry, did you think he would be wildly successful on the pro level or really struggle?
I've always had great respect for Jimmy. So when I'd go against him, his teams were always tougher nails. Well prepared. I didn't think that he wouldn't. To take it as far as he did, maybe, I don't know that I thought that when it first happened, but I thought he'd be successful. Jimmy's just one of those guys, and a lot of it is Jimmy's swagger. I mean, he is a guy that I think the players rub off from his attitude, the way he goes about things, George. And that's a good bit of the part, I think, of his success. So I thought the title is very appropriate.
Swagger. We're trying hard to get Dave on. I see him trying to get on.
Yeah, we can hear him, but we can't see him.
Well, you know what? Then let's at least say hello to him by way of that. Dave, even if we can't get the picture part, how you doing?
I'm doing well. If it's a picture 1,000 words, but I can provide a few verbally, anyways. I'm not sure what's going on with my camera here. So
well, this is a subject I love because I have read so much about it over the years. You know, the nation was absolutely captivated. It was almost like J.R. Ewing and Sue Ellen, Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson. All these years later, does Jimmy wish that had worked out differently?
You know, it's odd in that Jimmy just did a memoir with me of his career, but he doesn't look back at that. You know, I mean, there's a chapter, Jerry and Me, in which he talks all about his relationship with Jerry Jones. Certainly in talking to Troy Aikman and other Cowboys from that era, they always wonder how many they could have won. But when you look at who Jimmy was, part of this book, Swagger, is about Jimmy climbing the mountain and winning 2 Super Bowls and not really liking the person he became and realizing it's time for me to go. Part of that was him and what he knew he'd have to do if he came back and to win a 3rd Super Bowl. Being the lion tamer, always being the guy who was pushing assistants and players and as he said, I wanted to go out and have a beer with everybody. I didn't want to be that guy who, but the other part was his relationship with Jerry had fallen apart. And the 2 guys who 5 years earlier had taken over, America's team was losing money and it was 1-15 and Jerry did the business side and Jimmy did the football side. But after 5 years, they'd had enough of each other. And certainly Jimmy was tired of Jerry wanting to be on the football side constantly, not meddling like we think of owners as far as, make this trade or why aren't you playing this or what was that call on 3rd and 3, but more like constantly on draft day, the ESPN cameras were in the draft room and he told Jimmy, hey, after you make a trade, talk to me. So it looks like I'm part of the deal too, so, look, the story of egos getting in the way of championship teams or great music or companies, however you want to go, is an old one in the world, and this is what happened between Jimmy and Jerry.
Dave, the book's been out about a week. How's it done so far?
Oh, it's been great. It's been really well received. It's the number one football book on Amazon, I know, and it was in the among the best-selling as they chart these things. I'm looking at this as an outsider, just like anybody else, interested outsider. But my whole interest was in writing it and working with Jimmy and getting, the voice of him and the nuance of what he wanted to say just right. And so now I'm sitting back and watching the marketers go. But it's a lot of fun to watch.
It had been out there for a while that one of the things Jimmy resented, just like you said, was Jerry wanting to be one of the boys, one of the coaching staff. Did that all catch Jimmy by surprise?
I don't think it caught him by surprise. There were a couple, it kind of evolved to that. And one of the things I think that rubs Jimmy wrong is in recent years, Jerry will be asked about how much football decision making did he make on those championship teams, and his title was general manager. So his answer is, well, how much does any general manager do? Well, one thing Jimmy did in this book was he put in the contract that him and Jerry signed, in which it spells out that Jimmy had full say over all football matters. And as success came, Jerry tried to rework that contract so that he would have some say in football matters, and Jimmy said that's non-negotiable. Okay, let's remember when this started. Jerry took a $140 million loan out to buy the Cowboys, and he spent all his time and smarts paying off that loan and making the Cowboys look what's happened to them. They're a financial great success story, and Jerry's helped the NFL into what it is today on a business side. But he went to Jimmy at one point and he says, Jimmy, I can make a $5 million deal and nobody says anything. Whereas if you trade for a third string guard, everybody's celebrating what you did. And, I want some of that fun. And that was what Jimmy knew when he said that it was going to cause a problem. And the chapter, Jerry and Me, sort of spells out the clashing and how by the final year they weren't talking. And, at the same time, Jimmy wasn't happy with the person he'd become. So the combination, I think, of the two, when it presented itself, he said, okay, I'm out of here.
Dave, I'm going to ask one more question, then I'll turn it over to Watson Brown, who's got a couple for you. Did Jimmy ever, after the Dolphins stuff, ever really come close to getting back to coaching?
People would come, and part of my interest in doing this book with Jimmy was I'd talk to him through the years, and owners and general managers and college coaches, NFL coaches, basketball executives would come down and talk to him about how to lead. What does a guy at the top need to do to lead? How do you evaluate talent? All that stuff. And certainly right after he left the Dolphins, there was a parade of people coming down trying to interest him. And he'd look out the back window, big picturesque window in Isla Mirada in the Keys, looking out over the Atlantic Ocean. And he'd turn to him and he'd say, trade that for a locker room or a movie room? No, I don't think so at this point. He'd had enough of football. Okay. And it wasn't just football. A lot of stuff going on in his personal life that the book gets into with his son and him realizing you need to spend more time with his family.
Dave, we sound like a medicine cabinet here in the background. Sorry for that. But say hello to the second sneezer. That's Watson Brown.
Yeah. Hi, Watson. Thanks.
Dave, thanks for coming on with us. I was saying before you came on that I thought I've gone against Jimmy in his early years in his college time when I was a head coach, and we played each other quite a bit at different schools. And I always thought Jimmy's teams, Dave, I thought the word swagger is perfect for the title of the book because his teams always played with that. And he had the great knack, I thought, Dave, of he could control his team, but you could tell he was a player's guy. And by the way his players reacted around him, responded to him. And he had that knack. And I don't think there's a bunch of coaches out there with that. But I think that's been his number one trait is relationship with players, that when he could be on their level on some things, but when it's time to be the boss and lay the law down, he could do both. And I just don't think there's a bunch of guys out there that are good at that.
Yeah, that's a really hard thing to do. They play. He let them be themselves.
Yep.
And play freely within his rules. Okay, and that's a hard thing to do. Play freely within my rules. And you look at the statistics and you talk to the players. Alonzo Highsmith was a fullback on that team and later became a longtime scout in the NFL. Talked about how they were not allowed to talk to family on road trips. It was a business trip for them, and Jimmy made sure that it was the whole focus was you couldn't even go out. People would look down the halls both ways before going out of their hotel rooms at night just to go get something out of the candy store or whatever, because Jimmy had such a tight leash on him. And that goes hand in hand, and yet against when you see how they played on the field, that they were free. He allowed dancing. He allowed them to talk. He said, we drew the line at taunting. There was no taunting, but we allowed talking. And certainly one of the stories, once they got good in Dallas, the third year, when they were playing a bad Indianapolis team, and he was called the team together for their weekly meeting on Wednesday to start the week. And he said, guys, I get up here and I talk every week about, how good the other team is or what we have to do to win. But come on, these are the Colts. If we're not kicking their butts in the second half to the point we're putting in our reserves, then I'm going to be mad. And so, how many coaches will talk like that and allow, their fear of overconfidence in the team or bulletin board material if it gets out to the other team? And, he didn't care about that. And I guess that's part of why Sports Illustrated did a poll in, I think, 2011, and his 87 Hurricanes were voted the most disliked team, and his 92 Cowboys were voted the third most disliked team. And he wonders how the bad boy Pistons got in there at number 2.
Well, and to add to take it on, very few college guys through the years are successful when they go to the pro level. But I think this relationship with players and the way he handled them, Dave, let him go from the college game to the pro game, because being able to handle both pieces of that like he could let him make that transition. And which I think a lot of the college guys go in way too stiff with the pro guys. But Jimmy's way fit that. And I think that's why he was a very successful pro coach, with the same relationships and philosophies that he used in college.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that, because one of his phrases when he brought much of his staff, his crew, as he called it, to Dallas from Miami, Dave Wannstedt, Butch Davis, Tony Wise, on down the line. And one of the phrases in drafts when they're looking at a guy and considering to take him, Jimmy would say, is he a Miami guy? Meaning, does he play with swagger? Does he have an attitude about him to the where he's, playing free, but at the same time disciplined. So he knew what he was looking for in the NFL, and a lot of it was he saw at UM. At the same time, there's some growing pains. Let's face it; they went 1-15 his first year with Dallas, and there was a learning curve. And he developed the draft value chart to help him, where he assigned point values to each draft pick in the NFL draft, and he started making trades using that chart. And that got out after he left about 5 years later. Now executives are still using that, or a version of that, in the NFL today. So some of what I liked about the book, it's still contemporary. These guys come down to the keys and they want to know how he evaluates talent, and he talks about that. Or as you said, Watson, that a lot of the things he saw in the college game he could apply to the pro game, and looking at players and evaluating them.
Yeah, and George, this will be it for me. But Dave, it's a shame that dynasty stopped when it did. I mean, when he left, and I go way back with Coach Switzer too, and when Barry took over, that was one heck of a football team. And it's a shame, because that's, in my opinion, Dave, that is one of the best dynasties in the history of the NFL. And to put that together and build that, and then not to completely reap the benefits like the Packers did, or the different teams that have had those dynasties like that, it's a shame, because I think that thing was going to go on for quite a few more years.
Yeah, when they won their first Super Bowl against Buffalo, they were the youngest team in the NFL. Because all these guys, Jimmy drafted them, Jimmy brought them, developed them, and so they won the first one. They won the second Super Bowl. Then he was out of there, and that's the question. You talk to Michael Irvin, says they would have won 5 Super Bowls. Troy Aikman says Jimmy and him would have been Belichick and Brady before Belichick and Brady, because they would have had a run, of that proportion. And so there is, one of the things I really tried to get Jimmy to talk about was, would he have stayed? Would he have stayed if Jerry had put his arm around him, or said, look, let's make this work, or whatever. And Norv Turner had said, boy, he'd see Jimmy mad through the years, and he'd go into Jerry's office, and Jerry would tell him how great he was, and how everything was going to be great as long as he, and sort of massage his ego, and Jimmy would come out with a smile on his face, and everything would be okay. Jimmy says, it had reached a point he was done. But I always wonder what would have happened if Jerry had pulled what Norv Turner, Jimmy, you can make this work. I'll do whatever I can. And, I think at some point Jerry just didn't respect what it took to win at that level. And Jimmy had enough too.
Yeah. Dave, I've got a copy of the book. I can't wait to get started on it. It's a subject that has always fascinated me. Number one, thank you for taking the time to come on. Please thank Chip Namias for setting this up for us. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Fun conversation.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Yeah, you too. Eat the cranberries, my favorite.
We'll do it. Take care.
See you,
okay.
Dave.
When we come back, a little bit of a tale of the tape of the Titans in Cincinnati, followed by Plaster Bet of the Day. A lot coming on Main Street Media Television.
This holiday season, the largest lantern event in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. See more than 1,000 Chinese lanterns. Welcome back to Zoo Illumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
Christmas for Kids is back at the Ryman this November 21st. Christmas for Kids provides children with shopping sprees, coats, and unforgettable experiences every year. This annual fundraising concert helps bring that experience to more kids. This year is hosted by Phil Vassar and includes Chris Young. The frontmen, which is Richie McDonald, formerly of Lone Star, Larry Stewart of Restless Heart, Tim Rushlow, formerly of Little Texas, Essex County, and a whole lot more. Christmas for Kids, November 21st. To purchase tickets, go right now to Ryman.com.
A man was critically injured following a crash early Friday morning. Officers at the scene said the victim was driving a pickup truck when he lost control of the vehicle. The pickup veered left and went into a ditch. A front seat passenger was wearing a seatbelt and escaped the crash without injury. The driver was not wearing a seatbelt and was ejected from the truck. He died at the scene. Law enforcement writes tickets to save lives.
When I made the decision to host the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night, Strike and Spare is where I turned. And what a wise decision that turned out to be. They have 5 locations in our area with family attractions. They're perfect for birthdays, groups and corporate outings, and holiday parties. For more info, it's simple. Go to strikeandspare.com. After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Trax machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor-trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor-trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor-trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
Well, let's start this final segment by saying hello to our buddy Brian Stewart, who did such a great job. He never knew he could have been a TV reporter in a different life. Hey, what you did in Green Bay for us was awesome. Thank you a bunch. That was awesome.
Well, I'm glad that it turned out okay. Honestly, I had no idea how it would come out because I guess you could see it was kind of loud in there. That was just a fantastic. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better experience than going to Green Bay, and the people up there were amazing. You heard the lady whenever I was actually trying to talk to you and everything. They were coming by and tighten up and everything else, and the Packers fans were doing their thing, but. It was, we were walking around, my buddy Lynch and I, we're sitting there walking around, and the shuttle dropped us off, half a block from the stadium. And We walked up there, and it was just as soon as we got to the corner there, right across from Lambeau, people were like, hey, you guys aren't from around here. And I'm sitting there talking, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know what gave it away. I guess, all the Titan stuff on me, or the definitely country accent that I have. So they treated us like we do the fans in Nashville. Whenever we see visiting fans, well, with the exception of Raiders fans, I still haven't talked to a Raiders fan. I'm scared of them guys, man. They're crazy. But they treated us like we were just one of the group. Gave us food, gave us the adult beverages. The stadium was incredible. It was like being inside of a snow globe. It honestly was.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, we had a great time, George, and I was glad that we were able to help y'all out.
Well, I'm thrilled that you had so much fun. So what's going on in your business, or do you even know right now?
Man, I'm still playing catch up, man. No, hey, I flew back Friday. As a matter of fact, I wanted to give you a shout out because I gave you one in the airport there, George. I was sitting in Appleton waiting for our flight. It got delayed and everything. And I'm sitting there, and there's a guy across from me, and I heard him on the phone, and I was like, man, that voice sounds familiar and everything. Well, it ended up being Buck Rising, who does a local show here in Nashville and everything. So I told him, I said, it's funny. I said, I think I became a TV reporter while I was up here. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I said, well, I do a little segment, with George Plaster and everything. He said, man, I love George Plaster. He said, you tell him I said hello. So from Buck, hello, George.
Awesome. So as we get ready for Thanksgiving, anything you want people to know?
I want them to know that we had our first auction Saturday. I flew back Friday, got back Friday evening about 9:00. Got to the auction Saturday morning in Jolton, and it was about 6:30 in the morning when I got there. So needless to say, I hit the ground running, so to speak, and we had a successful auction. We sold the house. We sold some personal goods for this gentleman. It was just a great day. We had a really good turnout. We had the tents set up, had the torpedo heaters out there to heat everything up. Successful day for One Stop Realty and Auction. Matter of fact, we have a new auction coming up here in 2 weeks. It'll be here in Hendersonville. Beautiful home that's we're going to be putting on the block. It literally just sold this past year, and due to unfortunate circumstances, the sellers are having to get rid of it. So we're going to have it up for sale 2 weeks from now, and I'm super excited about that house.
That's awesome. We got to get on out of here. We have more work to do. Brian, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and I may sneeze all over you.
Please don't sneeze on me or my turkey, George. That's
no,
Watson, George, Billy, everybody that's involved. Thank y'all so much for everything that we've got to do this year. I've had a great time, and looking forward to going out with a bang in 2022 with you guys, man. Thank y'all.
Amen.
Thanks, Brian. Happy Thanksgiving,
Take care, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, bye, guys.
Okay, let's put the tail of the tape up.
Here we go.
Of the Titans and the Bengals. The suddenly
revenge
getting
game.
Healthier Bengals. It's not a revenge game. Right, right, Watson?
That's happy talk.
It may be, but it can't cover up what happened last year. To say the least, last year's game's a little bigger one than this one is.
Well, I think it may not be a revenge game for the players, but for the fans, it might bring back some PTSD.
Well, we don't want to lose it again then, do we, Billy?
No, we don't.
So some of this is fairly obvious. The Titans certainly get the check mark by a mile running the football. The Bengals get it by a mile throwing the ball. The Titans have a better defense. I want you to lock in on the bottom half of this because you more than anybody have been on this special teams thing, and you're dead on right about it.
Yeah, I still think defense for the Titans is still much better than the Bengals defense and has been so far anyway. And one of the reasons for that, we're leading the league in a lot of categories, is people have to go a long distance to score and they can't do it. It's hard to go 80 yards with a football, and on any level, George, high school, college, pro, you seem to make a mistake here, make a mistake there, get long yardage here, turn the ball over, something, get a penalty. It's just hard to go 80 yards, and our special teams are always backing everybody up. It's unbelievable. Our kickoff guy, if he don't kick it in the end zone, we cover very well. And our punter's just the best in the league. So that's going to be the difference again this week, in my personal opinion. Special teams will be the difference in the game.
Interesting intangible you put in there about Jeffrey Simmons.
Well, you got to rush the passer to beat these guys, and you have to not let them get some run going with it. You really want them to be pass first. And Jeffrey's right in the middle of both of those two things, man. I mean, if he can get off those blocks and, as I call it, bench press the guy and throw him sideways and make a tackle, he couldn't do that in the last game. He was kind of a normal defensive lineman in the last game. And if we get Jeffrey Simmons back to what he was before his injury, he will take his guy and put him in the backfield on pass rush, and he will control his side of the line of scrimmage in the running game. And I think he's a big piece in this.
So we know the game's at Nissan Stadium. Let's get to Watson's final score, and we will ask why he thinks what it is he thinks. And there you go.
I still think the Bengals defensively are not that good. We're doing our thing right now. If we'll keep doing what we did in the last game, the philosophy that we played with play calling, with running and throwing, the way we handled the game, with the defense just not breaking, maybe bend a little bit, don't break. I think we score our points against this team, and I think we'll outscore them. I think it'll be a 31-24 score Titans.
Okay, Billy, we're going to sort of combine some things in this segment. So you have some things, I believe, to read.
Yes, I do. It is time for Plaster's Bet of the Day, powered by Bart Durham Injury Law. Since 1975, they have aggressively protected the rights of a broad range of victims of car accidents and personal injury in both Tennessee and Kentucky. If you, too, have seen your life interrupted by an injury on a highway, in a hospital, or at your workplace, let their attorneys do the work fighting for the full compensation that you need. Learn more on their website at bartdurham.com.
Hold on a second. Before you go anywhere, I just want it known that last night, when I sat up in a shootout that went about 7 or 8 deep, one of the longest shootouts I have ever seen in that arena, maybe the longest, I'm not sure. Watson, I just kept thinking about you and the whole softball that you kept saying. Did
you win the game, George?
Yeah, I won the game.
Well, then
it took everything in the world to get there.
George, bottom line in this business, babe, I don't want to hear about get the violin out again.
Right.
Get the violin out and we had 15 players hurt. You win or you lose. You won the game. So shut up. You won the game. For God's sakes, what are you throwing it back at me for? All I said was, this one is a win. Was it? Yes.
No, that's not what you said.
It is what I said.
No, you went a little farther than that and basically labeled it a joke.
I said it's a gimme. It's a win.
It wasn't a gimme.
It was a gimme because they won.
Gone 18 overtimes if it'd been a gimme.
George, did they win the game?
They won.
George, why did you pick that Preds game?
Because I thought it would win.
And what did they do?
Oh, it took forever. It's probably the longest regular season game that I can remember, and there was about a 3-hour game. Anyway, Watson, when you're 77-77, the winning percentage is 50.
Okay, I think I can get that one.
Okay.
50.0.
You didn't have to go to your computer for that one, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay, good.
But
if you did, I'd worry about you.
Here's where I'm going tonight, and I'll admit I felt good about it early. I don't feel so good right now.
Love that action.
Yeah. Well, Ohio U needs this win tonight at home to clinch whatever division they're in the MAC. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know.
I thought you were going to say clinch the Las Vegas Bowl.
No, what division it is. But the problem is Ohio U may well be without their starting quarterback. It's a game time decision. I said, what the hell? They need the win more than Bowling Green. Watson, to get over 500, it's going to be tough, but we're going to do it.
Oh, God bless you, George. It's really hard on you, I know.
Yeah. This game will be played in front of relatives, some parents.
I would say all 40 people in the stands will really be into this game like you are. So go home and watch it close. And
I'll do that.
Get your popcorn out and your Coke and pull for the Bobcats, my man. The Ohio Bobcats.
Thank you for your support.
Oh, I'm 100% behind you. Win,
No,
lose, win or draw, I'm behind you.
Oh, I know that. I know exactly where you stand. The minute you get a chance, you're just going to bore in for the kill.
He's in your corner.
You just open up the door with all of this. Hug me. It's so hard to do this. I'm going to die.
I never asked for
gracious. I need to get a different job. I don't know. I mean, gracious.
I never asked for a hug.
Make a call, man.
Him and Tony today.
I made a call. I have no trouble making a call.
Well, but then you moan about it for an hour.
These aren't easy.
Oh,
If they were easy, everybody'd be at 50%.
Oh.
I'd say if it was easy, everybody'd be way past 50%.
Yeah, that'd be a little higher than that.
It might be a little higher than that. I mean, I didn't even have a comeback to that one.
Watson, good night.
See you tomorrow.
Get your popcorn ready.
Get your popcorn and Coke.
Maction, baby.
Go for the Bobcats. Go Bobcats.
Once you go Mac, you can never go back. See you tomorrow, Watson.
See y'all.
Billy, see you tomorrow.
See ya.
See all of you tomorrow on Main Street Media Television.